Beowulf, Part 21. Beowulf spoke. Let your sorrow end. It is better for us all to avenge our friends, not mourn them forever. Each of us will come to the end of this life on earth. He who can earn it should fight for the glory of his name. Fame after death is the noblest of goals. Arise, guardian of this kingdom, let us go as quickly as we can and have a look at this lady monster. I promise you this, she'll find no shelter, no hole in the ground, no towering tree, no deep bottom of a lake where her sins can hide. Be patient for one more day of misery, I ask for no longer. The old king leaped to his feet, gave thanks to God for such words. Then Hrothgar's horse was brought, saddled and bridled. The Danes' wise ruler rode stately and splendid. Shield-bearing soldiers marched at his side. The monster's tracks led them through the forest. They followed her heavy feet that had swept straight across the shadowy wasteland, her burden the lifeless body of the best of Hrothgar's men. The trail took them up towering rocky hills and over narrow, winding paths they had never seen, down steep and slippery cliffs where creatures from deep in the earth hid in their holes. Hrothgar rode in front with a few of his most knowing men to find their way. Then suddenly, where clumps of trees bent across cold gray stones, they came to a dismal wood. Below them was the lake, its water bloody and bubbling, and the Danes shivered, miserable, mighty men tormented by grief, seeing there on that cliff above the water Escher's bloody head. They looked down at the lake, felt how its heat rose up, watched the waves blood-stained swirling. Their battle horns sounded, then sounded again. Then they set down their weapons. They could see the water crawling with snakes, fantastic serpents, swimming in the boiling lake, and sea beasts lying on the rocks, the kind that infest the ocean in the early dawn, often ending some ship's journey with their wild jaws. They rushed angrily out of sight when the battle horns blew. Beowulf aimed an arrow at one of the beasts, swimming sluggishly away, and the point pierced its hide, stabbed to its heart. Its life leaked out, death swept it off. Quickly, before the dying monster could escape, they hooked its thrashing body with their curved boar spears, fought it to land, drew it up on the bluff, then stood and stared at the incredible wave-roamer, covered with strange scales and horrible. Then Beowulf began to fasten on his armor, not afraid for his life, but knowing that woven mail with its hammered links could save that life when he lowered himself into the lake, keep slimy monster's claws from snatching at his heart, preserve him for the battle he was sent to fight. Hrothgar's helmet would defend him. That ancient shining treasure, encircled with hard-rolled metal, set there by some smith's long-dead hand, would block all battle swords, stop all blades from cutting at him when he'd swum toward the bottom, gone down in the surging water, deep toward the swirling sands. And Unferth helped him. Hrothgar's courtier lent him a famous weapon, a fine hilted old sword named Hrunting. It had an iron blade, etched and shining and hardened in blood. No one who'd worn it into battle, swung it in dangerous places, daring and brave, had ever been deserted. Nor was Beowulf's journey the first time it was taken to an enemy's camp or asked to support some hero's courage and win him glory. Unferth had tried to forget his greeting to Beowulf, his drunken speech of welcome. A mighty warrior, he lent his weapon to a better one. Only Beowulf would risk his life in that lake. Unferth was afraid, gave up that chance to work wonders, win glory, and a hero's fame. But Beowulf and fear were strangers. He stood ready to dive into battle.